Good day, everyone. I'm Cailing, a student from grade 11 Resilience. For those who are watching this video, I have a question for you guys. Who have here shared something online and then found out later that it was fake, it was not true? Well, most of us have been there. I know I have, and that's actually what this whole presentation is about. And today I'll be discussing fake news, but more specifically, I'll be breaking it down into three distinct forms. We have disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. So these three are not the same thing, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to tell them apart. And here's how we will go through this. After the objectives, I'll tackle each of the three types one by one. First, the definition, then a real Philippine example, and then a deep dive analysis of why it fits that category. I'm going to try to keep this engaging, so feel free to think along with me as we go. So my goal of this presentation is straightforward. I want you guys to walk out of here or finish watching the video actually knowing the difference between these three types of fake news and why that difference matters. A lot of people treat fake news as one big category, but lumping them all together actually makes it harder to fight. And a doctor can treat a patient without first identifying what disease they have, right? Same concept here in fake news. We need to correctly identify what kind of false information we're dealing with and before we can respond to it properly. So let's get into it. Excuse. On this slide, you can see the three types laid out simply. We have disinformation. We have disinformation, basically false information shared intentionally to mislead. And next we have misinformation, also false but shared without any intent to harm. The person believes the news is real. Lastly, we have malinformation, excuse, and this is the one that trips people up. It's actually real, but it's actually real information, but it's being used to hurt or manipulate someone. If I had to put it in one word each, disinformation is, I think it's lying, and misinformation is being mistaken, and malinformation is it's weaponizing the truth. Okay, let's go deeper. So disinformation, false information deliberately created to deceive. Notice the word deliberately. That's the key. Whoever created it knew it was false, so they still made a choice to put it out there anyway. The example I have for this involves something that hit close to home or for us Filipino students. So fake posts claiming that a Nipah virus outbreak was causing class suspensions across the country. Now, Nipah virus is a real disease. It exists, but the claim that it was causing school cancellation in the Philippines, it's made up. Let me show you why this perfectly fits the definition of disinformation. Looking at this post, the first thing you notice is how it's designed to get a reaction. It uses the name of a real scary virus to make the fake claim feel very legitimate. It specifically targets the students and parents by mentioning class suspensions because that's what will make people stop scrolling and hit the share button. That was not an accident. Whoever made this post knew exactly what they were doing. Let's go through the analysis. So the intent of this post is pure deliberate deception. The creator knew the outbreak claim was fabricated. They used a health scare as bait because health scares spread fast, especially after the COVID. It taught us to take disease warning seriously. Next is motivation. Posts like this are made to cause panic and confusion, and to make people distrust official sources. When the real government later says there are no class suspensions, people who saw this post might not believe them anymore. That erosion of trust is part of the goal. And the impact of the post, think about what actually happens when this spreads. Parents call schools in a panic, students stay home unnecessarily, school administrators have to make public statements just to counter a made-up post. Teachers deal with a lot of questions all day, whole day, and all of that from just one fake post. This is the power of disinformation. It does not need to be believed by everyone. It just needs to create enough noise and doubt to do its damage. We have next here misinformation. Same problem, different cause. The information is still false, but this time, I think it's the person sharing it as zero intention of causing harm. They genuinely think what they're sharing is accurate. So false information shared without the intention to harm. That's the definition. The example here involves fake emergency announcements, posts about energy lockdowns, or power outages that looked official and got shared across the country. This one, I think this is the most relatable because we've all done something like this before. Shared something like this before, Shared something quickly without reading it carefully or verifying it first. So this fake announcement spread because it looked credible. Official format, convincing tone, and maybe even a logo or seal. Nothing about it screamed fake at first glance, and so people shared it. To their family, group chats, to their neighborhood pages, to their classmates. Not because they wanted to cause trouble, but because they thought they were being responsible and helpful. Here's the breakdown. The intent of this is none, basically, technically. There was no malice here. The sharers were acting in good faith. They saw something that looked important and passed it along. The root cause is the problem is the absence of fact checking. Nobody stopped to ask, is this from an official government page? Has any legitimate news outlet reported this? Is there an actual advisory on the agency's website? One quick search could have stopped the chain right there. And the impact of this post, it's nothing but the consequences were still real. People panicked, families unplugged appliances and changed their plans. Hotlines got flooded with calls. Emergency services were overwhelmed with people asking about something that was never happening. So here's the hard truth about misinformation. You don't need bad intention to cause harm. The spread of false information causes damage regardless of whether the person who shared it meant well or not. Good intentions don't undo the consequences. The fix: before you share anything, especially anything that looks like an emergency or urgent announcement, you have to verify it first. Check the official check the official agencies on social media, or maybe look it up on Rappler or Inquirer. It takes less than a minute and it could have saved a lot of people from unnecessary panic. Now, for the last one here, we have malinformation. And this is where it gets very, very interesting. Because unlike the first two, the information here is not false. It's real. It actually happened. It can be verified, but it's being shared with one specific goal: to hurt someone. Genuine information shared to harm someone or damage their reputation. It's a simple version of this is leaking someone's private conversations or personal information online just to embarrass them. You did not make anything up, but you took something private and made it up public, specifically to cause that guy damage. That's malinformation. Now, let me walk you through a much more high profile example. So this infographic is based on a very real findings from the Commission on Audit, the official Philippine government body responsible for auditing how public funds are spent. What the COA found was that 73K 73 million out of 125 million in confidential funds released to Vice President Sara Duterte's office of the Vice President in 2022 were disallowed. Meaning they couldn't prove the money was used to its intended purpose. Things like reward payments and goods purchases had no documentary evidence to back them up. At the top of this infographic, you'll see Vice President Sara Duterte's own quote. There was no misuse of any funds. Now, are the COA findings real? Yes. Official government audit verified. Is President Sarah's quote real? Yes. She said it publicly. So, what makes this a malinformation? It's the packaging in the intent. It's the packaging in the intent. This true information was turned into a viral attack infographic with Sarah's face plastered on it and aggressively spread across social media. At the height of her political conflict with President Marcos, it was not shared to educate the public with government accountability. It was actually shared to destroy her image. So my analyzation for this is its intent is weaponizing the truth. The goal was political damage, not public information. The COA report that was used as ammunition in a political war. The method used selective presentation. By putting Sarah's no misuse quote right next to the COA disallowance figures, the infographic was designed to make her look dishonest, and even though the full context of the audit is far more complicated than a simple infographic shows. The impact this made is major reputation damage. It fueled public outrage. It strengthened calls for her impeachment. It it painted a very one-sided picture of a complex government issue, all using factual data. And that right there is what makes malinformation so powerful and so dangerous. Truth can be weaponized. Facts can be represented in a way that misleads. And the person on the receiving end has almost no defense because they can't even say that's fake. It's not. It's real. It's just being used against them. Okay. Alright, so to wrap things up, three types, three different problems. Disinformation, someone is lying to you on purpose. Misinformation, someone passed on a lie they believe was true. Malinformation, someone is using truth as a weapon against someone else. And what all three have in common is that they spread fast. They cause real harm. And they're all around us every day. May it be on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, or maybe in group chats and comment sections. The only real defense against all three media literacy is knowing how to identify what you're looking at, knowing when to pause before you share, knowing that even true information can be used irresponsibly. We're the generation that grew up with social media. That also means that we also have the most responsibility when it comes to how information spreads. So, the next time something lands in your feed, slow down. Think about it. Ask the hard questions. That's it from me. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.